Years ago, when Barack Obama came here to Berlin, he was welcomed with a regal reception, treated as the great new hope for a better future. Well, 5 years on, and 5 years of drone wars, whistleblowers, and continuing economic strife has, well, seen Barack Obama receive a very different reception. We've seen demonstrations out against the eavesdropping that's been going on, particularly the use of PRISM here in Germany. Germany was one of the countries worst affected by this snooping into of phone calls and emails. That's why the country appeared as orange on the map of nations that have been investigated.
In the afternoon, the demonstrators will divide up, with some blocking the entrance to Deutsche Bank's Twin Towers to protest about food speculation and land grabbing. A second group will head to the city centre to protest against rising rents, while around 200 will highlight racism and deportation at Frankfurt Airport, Europe's third busiest hub.
Our main goal is to show that the regime that is governing Europe through this crisis is neither democratically legitimate nor acting in any way responsible for the people. It's really working for profit. One of its symbolic places is the ECB, the place that has economic and financial reign over Europe.
Wir stehen hier seit 9 Stunden und gucken uns hier an, wie Menschen misshandelt werden, abgeführt werden. Wir sind einfach total sauer.
The police arrested about 45 people and injured between 200 and 300 of the demonstrators. The police brutality was surprising and changed the focus of the protests and the media coverage from the banks and capitalism to police brutality.
Proud police are being unleashed. Extra reinforcements have come. A group of police officers, riot police officers, come to confront the marchers. Has a very heavy police presence today, right?
The controversial piece of land has been in the headlines for a while, with a tussle pitting Jamia Mosque Committee and the mechanics both claiming ownership, with the latter claiming to have been operating on the said piece of land for decades. Nairobi Senator Gideon Mbuvi joined the fray and demanded all titles of the land be scrutinized and bona fide ownership ascertained to avoid frequent skirmishes between Juakali artisans and private developers. He also promised to buy alternative land for the mechanics if the new owners acquire the land legally.
And as evening fell, police reinforcements began to arrive, with more arrests expected, amid fears more protesters would descend on the streets to continue their fight into the night.
Facilitating peaceful protest.
What's gone wrong here today? Why wasn't it a peaceful protest?
Ask them, they're the trouble.
What'd you say? Well, police are trying to move the protesters back because on these double-decker buses are some of the squatters who have been taken into custody. But obviously it's causing some confrontation.
Dozens of people were arrested as scuffles broke out across some of the busiest parts of the capital. In Soho, police used circular saws to break into a squat. They then stormed the building to be met by protesters armed with water pistols.
The G8 meeting doesn't begin until next week, and it's in Northern Ireland, not London. But as with other meetings of world leaders, it's enough of a reason for small groups of anarchists and anti-capitalists to vent their anger. Jason Farrell, Sky News.
Residents of Luxor are protesting against an Islamist governor appointed by Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. Adel Mohamed Al-Kayat is a member of a hardline Islamist group blamed for the 1997 slaughter of 58 tourists, designed to cut off tourist revenue to the government of then-President Hosni Mubarak. Mr. Kayat has denied any role in Gamma Islamia's militant past and pledged to protect tourists. Luxor is one of Egypt's premier tourist destinations, but the local economy has been badly dented since Egypt's political uprising in 2011 and the subsequent rise to power of President Morsi and his Muslim Brotherhood party.
Rio de Janeiro is living in an undeclared civil war. This is the truth. If Rio or Brazil were prepared for the World Cup or Olympics, the armed security forces would not be necessary in the streets. None of this would be necessary. They treat people like we are cows.
What we have is a peaceful protest being met with the same kind of violence that we see in Turkey these days. And so it's an exact repetition where you take public space, you give it to private people. When people peacefully demand their rights, you get sprayed in the face.
The objective of our protest is against the bad public management of Brazil. The spending on World Cup is absurd, while we have bad infrastructure nationwide. There is no investment in education, health and taxes are high. That's our struggle.
Scenes like this seemingly indicating that Brazil is now living in an era of discontent, the thick smoke of protest and conflict on the rise.
Vocês vão atirar pra cá, hein?
Então, eu vou fazer uma ocorrência.
cabeça do governador! Os jovens apoiando o movimento. A ideia é ter polêmica aí, já junta duas coisas boas. Mas até muito filho da puta. Não dá um chute no saco dele. É, pelo menos não sai outro. Não dá, eu juro que não dá.
La espalda recta, como te enseñaron, la espalda recta, como te enseñaron, weón, está inconsciente.